Move on to Sleater Kinney, The Centre Won't Hold, which is the 9th studio album from the influential Riot girl band from the 90s and beyond, because they've come back, having released an album in 2015 called No Cities to Love. We now have another album, which is a bit weird always. We've spoken about the kind of weirdness of a band who, they split up in 2006?
They went on hiatus in 2006.
Hiatus in 2006, came back in 2014. So you got about 8 years without them being a band. Everyone goes, "Oh, they're back," and they're probably bigger and more influential than they were when they left. And and they released a record, and everyone went, "Cool,
great record."
Well, I've never heard it. So this is what I'm going to say. Actually, Renfrey, I don't really know anything about Sleater Kinney other than the fact that I really like Portlandia, which has got Carrie Brownstein in.
It's not only got her in; she wrote it.
She wrote it with Fred Armisen. Yeah. Great show. Listening to this made me go, I really like Portlandia.
I really love Sleater Kinney. I think they are an incredibly important band. I think they were. I suppose I'm always sort of reticent to use the Riot Girl tag because these days it feels a little bit. I don't know, just antiquated, but they certainly.
It was the name of the bands that came through at that time, and it was certainly that scene. And I think a lot of them did certainly self-identify as that.
Yeah,
I think a band kind of
Sleater Kinney definitely did, and I don't know if they would use it now. I've no idea, by the way. But they were definitely a big important part of that scene. But they were a band who, they've always. What is this? This is their 8th record, isn't it? 9th, apologies. So they've done a lot of records which have this kind of sort of scuzzy sub pop. They were on sub pop kind of garage punk thing, but they've always every record definitely sounds like they're different from one another. However, this record is a really big jump in terms of how different it is, and has had there is something that we need to talk about with this record, which is undeniable in that it was announced. It was undeniably announced. You cannot argue. I know a lot of people have been saying that it hasn't been announced, but it was definitely announced. You're in a funny mood today, haven't you? And shortly after it was announced, their drummer of 24 years, I believe, maybe 25, Janet Weiss.
Not to be mixed up with Susan Sarandon's character from the Rocky Horror Picture Show of the same name.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because I couldn't picture. It's not her. Right, okay. Yeah. Janet Weiss, not the Rocky Horror Picture Show character, left the band on Monday the 1st of July, that's when it was announced, which is an odd move 6 weeks before your new album is due to come out. It's
that second album of your comeback as well, which is always the one.
Her press statement said, I'm going to do more reading. Tough shit, mate. God. What are you going to do?
There we go.
After intense deliberation and heavy sadness, I've decided to leave Sleater Kinney. The band is heading in a new direction, and it is time for me to move on. And the band undoubtedly are heading in a new direction. This record is produced with St. Vincent.
It is, yeah.
A.k.a. Annie Clark.
Formerly of the Polyphonic Spree.
Oh, I didn't know that. Who hasn't been in the Polyphonic Spree, let's face it.
Also, she's done backing vocals for Swans as well.
No way. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that. I certainly think you can hear the St. Vincent vibe on this. As someone who doesn't know, you obviously had an idea of what Sleater Kinney
I've seen them. I saw them at Reading in 1998.
Okay, so I am guessing
when I was in my new metal phase, so it didn't do
anything for you.
But I do remember being like, oh, they sound like kind of a slightly less aggressive Babes in Toyland or L7, but more indie. That's what I remember thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not totally unfair. I think they're better than both of those bands, I have to say. But I'm assuming when you pressed play on this, it was not what you were expecting.
Not what I
at
was
all.
expecting. No.
At all.
No.
What is this record? It's really hard to say.
Well, it sounds a bit like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs crossed with Shakespeare's Sister.
Bill's sister, or is Shakespeare's Sister a band? I've never heard of
Shakespeare's Sister. I've never Shakespeare's Sister.
We've got Stacey's mum. We've got Shakespeare's Sister.
You must remember Shakespeare's Sister.
I don't
from
know.
the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
Stay with me. You better hope and pray. That was a hard number one for like 3 weeks.
A hard number one.
Hard number one. Number one with a hard whatever. Remember, your history like a no good for me. That's Shakespeare's Sister. They're like a duo. One of them used to be in Bananarama.
All right.
So they're kind of like, they were like a kind of weird gothy late 80s, early 90s pop band.
Okay.
That crossed with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, because it's still got a lot of like pop influence. Well, I say still, it's got a lot of pop influences on this.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still got that modern indie alternative thing going on. I
think this record at times sounds very sort of vaudevillian.
Doo-wop.
Doo-woppy.
Yeah.
I think at times it almost sounds like Panic at the Disco meets 9 Inch Nails via, I don't know, Susie and the Banshees.
But not as good as any of those things.
It's better than Panic at the Disco.
No, it isn't.
Oh.
No, it isn't.
Oh.
It's not as good as Panic at the Disco.
Come on, Steve. Go on. Tell me what you think.
I think it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like that Black Keys record where it's like, yeah, people do this and sometimes it's quite good.
Okay.
When we've got a world with like Yeah 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 albums and LCD Sound System albums in, I don't really feel like I need this at all, really. I think there are some good things in it. There's some proper doo-wop on Can I Go On, which I think was quite a cool little thing. The little synth riff on Love is great.
Yeah.
As well. I like the Peter Hook bass line in The Future Is Here, but I thought the rest of the song was quite dull. I thought The Dog, the Body has got a really cool chorus. I like... Yeah, it's a really cool chorus. Yeah. And Bad Dance, surely they know that's... Like, my God, if we think fucking Stacey's Mum from the last one, that's Toxic by Britney Spears. That is Toxic by Britney Spears.
All right.
It is, isn't it? 100%. They must know.
I'm not as with you on that. But yeah, okay, sure.
Bullshit. You just don't want to admit that this band you like sound like Britney Spears.
I love this band so much.
And that song sounds like Britney Spears.
Well, actually, I think that's a good song. I think Toxic's a really good song.
It is a good song. I'm not saying it's not a good song.
Yeah.
I'm not the elitist who's like scared to admit that it sounds like Britney Spears. No,
I like Toxic. I don't like Britney Spears, but I like Toxic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. I had a lot of fears about this record because as a Sleater Kinney fan, Janet Weiss leaving, and it was really obvious. It was so obvious from the singles that the sound was changing. I don't think the songs individually outside of the record work anywhere near as well as they do on the album as a whole.
Yeah.
Even though this is by far the most diverse and dynamic Sleater Kinney record by a mile, and it's very, very different. I feel like, and this might seem like a strange comparison to you, not having heard the previous records, but in a sense, this to me is like Fugazi's The Argument, in that they are still undoubtedly Sleater Kinney, but their attack is kind of used in a more subtle way. You know how The Argument is so much broader and so much more dynamic than their other records? I believe it's your favourite Fugazi record. It's certainly mine. I am not saying this is my favourite Sleater Kinney album because it isn't. But I think the approach to it is similar to the approach to The Argument by Fugazi. And it took me a little while. I played this record a lot over the past few days, and I think I like it. This is another one which we have not had for very long, I should say, and it feels like you need it for a little while. but I think I keep hearing new stuff every time I go back to it. Sometimes it's a little too twee pop for me, but only
Are you
fleetingly.
talking about the last song?
I think the last song's beautiful. I think
Really?
it's amazing, yeah.
I think it's wank.
Really?
I hate it. Yeah, it sounds like fucking Whitney Houston. It sounds like something that should be at the end of a romantic comedy.
I mean, it definitely won't be. It's
No.
very political. That's like it's.
But it sounds like the Bodyguard.
Ugh,
Not in a romantic comedy, like the end of the Notebook or something.
crikey. Okay. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Well.
I think
no.
it's really, really crap, that song.
Oh wow. Okay. I don't agree.
Slushy, really fucking slushy and horrible.
Okay, but then the first song on the record, which is the title track, begins with this weird industrial sort of Nine Inch Nails light type thing before exploding in a wall of fuzz. I mean, Sleater Kinney have been sonically heavier than they are on this record, but this still feels like a heavy album to me because there's lots
sort
of.
of.
It's a heavy pop record, I guess.
It's a heavy pop record.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not. Some of it's good and some of it's not good. That's how I feel about it. Some of it's good in bits. There are like little bits that you could pull out from songs that I go, that's wicked. Like I say, that particular a bass line here, a synth part there, a riff there, a vocal harmony or a melody or a hook or something here and there. Really, really good in sort of isolation, but nothing that ever really gets me particularly excited in full.
Deary me.
And some of the songs on it, like, wow. No, none of the songs on it, I think, nothing that sucks apart from that last song, which I think really, really sucks.
I do disagree. I really like this record, but with kind of reservations in terms of I really feel like we needed it for longer to be able to properly establish how much I like it. It's not my favourite Sleater Kinney record, but I do think it's a really interesting left turn in their career and will be seen as such. Or who knows, maybe it'll be seen as a Lulu and maybe, they'll make up with Janet. I think they're I think they're still friends and all that sort of thing, but maybe Janet will come back and then it will be, just like older Sleater Kinney. But I can't imagine that happening. They are a band who have very much progressed throughout the years. They've just taken smaller steps with each record than this one. This one's quite a leap. But and there are going to be a lot of Sleater Kinney fans who just will not go with it.
Yeah.
And I get that. But there were probably a lot of Fugazi fans who didn't go with the argument. Idiots. Well, there probably were.
Might have been. I mean, I've never ever heard anyone who's a Fugazi fan say that about what. But then I don't know. Like, I don't know if people will get funny with this or not. I have absolutely no idea. I've got
I
no
think
idea.
they will. I
would
think
imagine
they will.
That, like, if they sound so far away from what I remember them sounding like, that I guess they probably will.
I think some Kinney fans have already got fussy about them working with St. Vincent and stuff like that, which is kind of a shame because she's an interesting artist. You know, she's like. I mean, there's some people have heard the singles and gone, oh, it just sounds like St. Vincent. And I think that's not entirely accurate. There's definitely, you can hear her stamp on it, but I wouldn't say it just sounds like a St. Vincent album or song or anything like that. But so you won't return to this at all? You're not keen on it in the slightest?
I don't think so, to be honest, mate. No.
Shame.
No, sorry.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind listening to some of their old albums.
Well,
I've been meaning to do that, so I should do that.
Well, I'll give you one on a trade off then.
All right, cool. All right, well, anyway, Sleater Kinney, The Centre Won't Hold, is out now.